Oh yes. Oh yes. That means if these are outside, something must be going on in the shed. Ooh, let's have a look. Hey, it's Charlie. And yes, on fan heater, luxury. Lighting, luxury. I did just mention on my private Facebook page that I was going in the shed to play with the little Japanese minx, and here it is. I think this should be renamed a female name, basically. And, you know, well, Charlie could be female, you know, you do get Charlie as a female name. Anyway, I'm just cooking some bacon and sausage. So this is going to be a quick introduction into this film, and hopefully it'll be a good one. Today's job, I'm going to be replacing the throttle cables, so I need to take this strap off because I need to get to the throttle tunnelage, and I'm going to replace the clutch cable, and that, so far today, will be the job. I might just whip the old brake lines off as well. We'll see how we get on. So, grab yourself a brew, settle back, and watch a fat idiot in a shed. Yes! I have bacon and sausage, and I've been naughty, I've had a fried slice on top. I have my beverage, because today, as in the introduction, yes, I don't know whether you can see. Now, I can't zoom this camera in because it's a GoPro, basically, and it's one of the early ones. But it is the most reliable one I have. Today's job is replacing throttle cables, and how these little fillers work, mate, is if I can get the stand around this, is this circular thing you will see on the side of nearly all CV carburetors, or they'll be in the middle of a bank of carburetors or whatever. Whatever carburetor this is attached to will be your master for setting up for syncing, etc. And that's how you do it, but this is always the master. So anyway, basically what happens is this is attached to a butterfly in the throttle body, basically, for want of a better description, and then you have a needle and a slide that can be plastic, it can be metal, which is basically free to move. But up the top we have an air chamber. You can see the cap up the top. You know what a CV carb looks like. And there's a rubber diaphragm in there which maintains sort of a standard ambient air temperature. And what happens is that when we open the throttle slide, the air pressure in the throttle body changes, and it will pull the slide up. I'm sure I just said slide twice then. When we open the butterfly, obviously the velocity in the throttle body changes, and it pulls the needles up, if they're working correctly, and that allows the main fuel through, because when we're idling, and I don't know what the RPM cutoff is because every bike's different and every carburetor is different, it will get to a certain RPM or air velocity and it will bring those slides in because the air pressure changes, so the slides get sucked up. And the reason why we have two cables is you will have one, these are obviously unattached, these are the old cables. You'll get one which pulls open the throttle, which is this one. And on a CV carb, the Japanese discovered that you also need a pull cable to pull the butterfly back. Because what can happen, and did happen on some early bikes, is you would be tonking along and, you know, at high RPMage and all that lot, and sometimes the carbs were sticking open, and it was all to do with the air pressure. The air pressure through the throttle bodies was actually keeping the slides open, so when you actually throttled off, the slides could stay open, and they were staying open. So what they ended up doing, I was doing lots of hand gestures off camera like this, is they ended up putting a push cable on, which is why on the majority of Japanese bikes with CV carbs you will find a pull cable as well, and that's to physically pull the butterflies shut. The GS850, that was an early CV carb, that just had the one, that just literally had the one cable and it ran fine on it, but it wasn't an overly powerful motorcycle. But that's why we have two cables. It's a safety thing. You can run the bike on one, you could get you home on one, no problem at all, but yeah, safety thing, it shuts the butterflies down. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be replacing the pull cable and the push cable, and we're going to be replacing, what you can't see is, you'll probably see the fitting down there actually. Look at that camera work, that is staggering, Jim, really is. We're going to be doing the clutch cable as well, which necessitates removing the gear lever linkage, which was probably just out of shot, I've got no idea, taking this cover off, because the actuator arm for the clutch is in this cover, and we'll replace the clutch as well. The choke cable looks brand new, and now I've played with it, works brand new. So that is what we're going to be getting on with. One thing I will point out about the bike, which I haven't mentioned yet, which some of the more eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed already, is that this bike has been down the road on its left hand side, which is why the fairing stay is broken. I think the lever is slightly bent, but it's not too bad, and there is also the gear lever, as you can see, is bent in towards the frame. So at some point I'm going to get the gear lever off, because I think on one of the receipts there was a receipt for a new gear lever, and so far I haven't found one. Finger wag, finger wag. So yes, obviously that's stuff that's going to be addressed, but there's no corresponding scuff marks on this foot peg and what have you, so it may have just, you know, leant up against something and didn't go all the way over. Hopefully that's the case. So yes, today's job you know about, but what I need to do is I need to move the clamp, I need to move the bike a bit further back, a couple of inches back, so the clamp's got a good hold, because obviously I need to get the strap on. Child, I need to get the strap off, because I've got to disassemble, big words Jim, the throttle assembly, and we'll give the inside a good greasing and stuff while we do that as well. But I just thought I'd point that out, because somebody's bound to have noticed and said, oh, that's been down the road. Well, you know, now I've told you, so there's no excuse. Yes, having a slight move around, because now I've done the carpetinkles, I don't really need the ramp, so the ramp is temporarily out of the way and being used as a bench, which isn't a bad gig. And then I can just bring the bike in here, and I might just stick the ABBA stand on so it's nice and upright, and then I should still have room to get the other pair of buggers in. Right, I've got her up on the ABBA stand. Brilliant bit of kit. My sister has just arrived. Did you bring cake?
I've got those two cake things.
They'll do.
What are you doing?
Filming.
Oh, sorry.
For my YouTube.
Oh, YouTube.
Yes.
Oh,
There we go. It never goes smoothly, does it? Anyway, up on the ABBA stand. Brilliant bit of kit, this. I do believe, I think I've said in another video, I think I've had this. I'm not sure whether it's not getting on 20 years. Years. I'm not sure. I think I bought it when I had it's Uncle Barnyard. Well, we heard Uncle Barnyard, but Uncle Barnyard is not making an appearance. I think I had it when I had a CBR 750, and it's fit every single bike I've had since. But I'm sure I had this when I had my VFR, because I knew it fitted, and I've hand gestures got the adapters. So it's rock solid. It's more solid and more stable than I am anyway, let's put it that way. Here he is. You've all been waiting for him all week, folks. It's Uncle Barnyard. You're dressed up.
Dressing?
Well, you've not got paint all over you or what looks like horse cum.
This is me.
This is your Saturday gentleman of leisure look, is it?
No, I'm doing my guitar up.
Oh, you're doing your guitar, are you? Don't be doing that. I might be needing that.
No.
Important O-ring. No, I won't.
How's it going?
Alright, I'm just about to replace the cableage. Throttle cables, clutch cable. I might even start stripping the back end down. Who knows?
Is it running now?
Yeah, it's running good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I've got the cables on, I'll be able to put the rest of the airbox on, put the tank on. Not that I've got any fucking petrol, but and yes, it's running lovely, idling lovely. So we'll just have to take it from there, lad. You know.
Yeah.
So what are you on with today, then, apart from messing around with your guitars?
Oh, that's what I'm doing.
What, messing around with your guitars?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Jolly good. Louise has just turned up
Yeah,
with some chocolate tea cakes.
Oh.
So I might have to do an Alan Millyard. Oh, there. See, that's God telling you something.
Yeah, clear it off.
Yeah. Bye, Uncle Barnyard.
Adios.
Hello, Alan here. Jim's gone to go and make another brew. I've already got one. Anyway, my sister Louise has just turned up with some chocolate orange tea cakes, so I thought it would be rather rude if I didn't have one. It fits into my mouth just perfectly. Thanks, Alan. See you again soon. Right. How we're going to do this, folks, is if you have the access to do it, i.e. you're not out on the road or, you know, broken down or something like that. Thing is with throttle cables, especially ones which screw into the housing, is always try and do throttle end first and slacken them right off, so you've got tons of adjustment towards the throttle hand gestures, because when we set the free play, on this model I don't think we can set it on the throttle. I think they're like sealed and all the adjustment is done down here, so give ourselves plenty of slackage down this end and then we can adjustificate it in. And what we're looking for is between sort of 3 and 5 mil free play at the throttle, so it's not like a hair trigger. And what we also need to ensure is to tension the pull cable so it snaps this back nice and smartly. You should be able to let go of the throttle and it should snap straight off. Nice. So the next thing to do is to crack open the throttle housing and take the cables off from there. We'll do them one at a time. The Johnny Cash, one piece at a time. And we'll just make a note of the routing. On this one it's quite easy. It just goes through this gap here, around the headstock, behind this wire, which I'm guessing is not that critical, to be fair. It goes round and all the way around. Oh, we've got a little bit of adjustage on one of them. I'm guessing that's the pull. Usually the pull has the adjustment. And then they bolt into the housing, and it'll be a good time to be able to clean up the contacts of the switches, etc. So without further ado, we'll get that throttle housing split. Right, I was interrupted there, which seems to be the norm for today. What I'm doing, I need to get to the back screw and the brake lever's in the way, so we're going to take the brake lines off anyway, so I'm going to undo the clampage. How you do one of these clamps up is that you fully tighten the top one and then clamp with the bottom one. But it feels like somebody has cross-threaded this bottom one. Oh, you fecker. Top one's fine. That bottom one's definitely been cross-threaded. Right, both screws out the switchgear. I had to slacken off the mountings to get a bit of wiggle room and to get to one of the screws, and obviously I've also took that out. Let's have a look. Ooh, not too bad. I have seen far worse. So this side is your pull and that side is your push. There is actually a bit of a greasage in there. Nice. And on some bikes, I don't know about this one, I can't remember on the VFR, you do have enough wiggle room to slide the old assembly off and put your cables back on, which does make it easier. So let's concentrate first on removing the pullage. So I've got to unbolt this. That's gone off. And sometimes what happens is, I do believe we've got to pull the cable through now because this actually screws into the housing. So it's got to go whip, 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 whip. And it's a bit awkward. Nice. The tuneless shite you can hear coming from next door is my uncle tuning his guitar, and he's got it very loud. Right. Let's just sit myself down. To make it easy, I've took the whole switchgear unit off. Unplugged it. Somebody has already broke the tab on it, but it's alright. It's a nice tight fit. Other side of the plug is here. It plugs into the other side of the switchgear is normal. You'll normally get switchgear is part of the loom. One side of the switchgear will plug into the other side of the switchgear, and then the whole lot will plug into the main loom. So that's normal. That's alright. And I'm not too worried about that because it was a nice tight fit. So yes, you can see how the two cables are attached. Got one loose there, but we need to unscrew it, and before we can unscrew it we need to get rid of the pull, and that is, I do believe, 40. They're usually about a 14mm. Let's have a look. Oh, Jim, have you got it wrong? No. Ooh, blimey, he got it right. Anyway, I need to answer this. You get the idea. Well, as you can see, oh god, I'm going to sneeze. This is very that was very unprofessional. Doctor, every time I sneeze I orgasm. What are you taking for it? Pepper. Right, as you can see, this is the, if you can hear me over that twanging cacophony next door, the state of the pull cable. Look, frayed as buggery, so that was gonna snap at some point if it wasn't already sticking. I never attached it, I never tried it, so I don't know. But anyway, both fittings are loose, so now the cables can be pulled out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the little switches while I've got it off and just give them a good lubing with you know, something, a proprietary waterproofing lubrication spray. Yes, you know, like Plus Gas or something like that. So I shall do that. The new cables are pre-lubed. All new cables now have a special insert, which means that they're pre-lubed, so we don't have to do the messy shit of putting a cable oiler on. But yes, before my uncle gets any louder, I'll get on with it. Dennis Norden moment. Ask your dad, kids. Are you one of those people? Oh, yeah, bad impression, Jim. Cables never ever look big enough when they're in the packaging. never. But I assure you, don't use that word, that this should be the correct length as that cable lying over there on the floor. I've just got to... look at that professionalism. Yeah, we're the same length. That's good. The pull cable is a very, 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 very slightly different design to, I take it that's the original that's on, but it will work, which is the good thing. It will work. Yes, it will work, won't it, Jimmy? Yes, it will. I've already test fitted it. Right, I'm going to get on and put the two cables in the housing, introduce the throttle. The way I do it is feed the fittings into the housings, get them tightened to sort of roughly where they need to be, but they've still got a bit of motion, and then pull the cables basically their entire length upwards. It's a lot easier to do this off the bike, not so much at the side of the road, and then introduce them to the throttle, and then basically slide it over the handlebar, close it all up, and forget about that end, because then we'll be routing it through round here and through here and through here, down to the throttle edge. There's the bracket, and then it's just a question of setting up the correct amount of free play. I say it's just a question of, it can be a bit of a faff, but once they're done, the idea is that when the bike's running and you turn the steering, it shouldn't increase the revs of the bike, because that means one of the throttles is too tight basically. It shouldn't be influencing the throttle when you turn it basically, and they do check for that on an MOT. Nice. So yes, I'm sorry I'm not filming a lot of this, but it's very difficult to sort of get a decent look at it, but that's basically what I'm going to do. Fit the cables now. If you have to do this yourself, it's fairly self-explanatory. If an idiot like me can do it, you will not struggle. So yeah, on these Hondas especially, they screw into the switchgear, the housings. Some don't, so we'll see. Right, both cables are threaded into the housing, and now you can see that the cables are up there, because what we're going to do now is introduce the throttle. Look at that ace camera work, and it just makes it easier to get the cables in and then seat the throttle while it's like this. So yes, so I'm going to do that, and hopefully you're following, and if not, I don't know, go and play with yourself. Right, throttle cables fitted, and I'm just now messing around with these adjusters to get the free play correct, and it can be a little bit of a game of give and take basically, because you can set a little bit at the throttle, but it's mainly done here, and like I say, I'm looking for the throttle to snap back. I've just got to adjust it at the throttle end a little bit, because that one's a little bit tight. I've got a little bit of play at the throttle, because that's the correct orientation of that adjuster, and that is the correct one of that one apparently. So yes, we'll see. I'll have a play, because that's got a little bit of play in it, and see how we get on. Oh, the bugger owes me skin. Hey, guitar! Potential problem.
Oh yeah.
Is this Uncle's barnyard? Oh yeah, what are you eating?
Oh yeah.
They're not for you, you know.
I'm a kleptomaniac. Can't walk by without.
Yeah, I think that just means fat bastard, not kleptomaniac. Kleptomaniac is shoplifting. You've got to be very strong to lift a shop. Yes.
I'm going to wash my car.
Oh, you're going to wash your car? You're going to wash mine as well then?
Yeah.
Good on you.
Not for the first time, was it? Not you cooking.
What was that in English?
Right, exploded.
Yes, please. Thank you. Call again. Right. Potential problemato. I suspected before that the old push cable is wrong. And I do actually suspect it is, because without the push cable fitted, we've got a beautiful throttle action. Snaps back fine. Could actually be ridden like it, not a problem. I thought it looked a tiny bit too short when I laid them side by side. And I think it is. I think it is, because the part number which was on the old masturbation, the old pack here, that Hilux control cable, part number whatever, I'm going to cross-reference that because I've got the part number for the actual Honda cable. And it is going to be fitted to more than one motorcycle, let's bear that in mind. In fact, I'm not so sure as the NC30 wasn't the same. Anyway, I'm going to do some cross-referencing because I think this is about, it's not much, but I think it's about half an inch to an inch too short. I think it's about half inch too short, because no matter how I adjust this, it's correct at the throttle because there is no adjustment at the throttle. No matter how I adjust this, the throttle locks up, whether it's on right lock, left lock. You're supposed to set cables up on left lock so you get the maximum amount of free play. Now I've got a beautiful throttle action with just the one cable, so that will do us for now. And I'm just going to leave this one unconnectado because I think that's wrong. I might be wrong, but I think that's wrong. So we'll see. I might even have a spare cable knocking about somewhere. Or did I bin it? I don't know. Anyway, we're fine to run it with just the one cable for now. It won't cause, I doubt it will cause major issues. Because you can actually push the throttle closed with that cable as well. So hand gestures. So I am going to do the proper thing and remove it from the throttle grip. So we've got a nice throttlage action, and then I'm going to tackle the clutch cable. Now the clutch cable is a bit more involved. Basically the easiest way to do it, line up the adjuster, like any cable, line up the adjuster so you can get the cable out, but take the lever off because that pivot's going to have to be, it's a good idea to have it greased and shit anyway. But the actuation arm on the other end, it's going to be filthy as filthy can be behind this cover. I can guarantee it. I might not actually have to take the gear selector off. It might just clear it. But the selector arm to get to the nipples at the collector arm, if I remember rightly, it can be a bit of a bugger. So I am going to turn the camera off while I take this cover off and what have you, and just have a look, see how we get on. The cable is actually fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but I will take it off, inspect it for fraying, etc., because the slightest sign of fraying, it'll get replaced. But it might be alright, but yeah, we've got new cables, we may as well fit them. So I'm going to get on with that, but I think for today, I'm going to wrap this one up, because it's now well past lunchtime on a Saturday. Check out my beautiful hair. I'm sort of in the phase of growing it again. I'm probably going to go old and disgraceful and bohemian, I don't know yet. So I think I'm going to wrap that one up for this one, because this is talk, because I've struggled with this. I have adjusted this any way I can, and it's basically, it's locking the throttle up. It's far too tight, even with there's no such thing. I've lost my train of thought now. Boobies. I think that is wrong. I think the actual cable itself is just slightly too short. So I will cross-reference it. I've already found one. I found one on the eBay, which is completely different part number to this. I've tried David Silver spares, he doesn't list them. I shall try Wamoto, but I've got a feeling they don't list them, they only list the pull. And like I say, you can ride it around perfectly fine with just the pull. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference. So I don't know. I'm going to do some investigation there. But what I can do in the meantime is actually put the airbox back together. I think I'll do that. Yes. That shut off a little quickly now, didn't it? I am going to end the video there. I did not take the clutch thing off because I've sort of run out of time. It's my only day off this week, so I'm going to have some chill time now and probably put on my red leather underpants, spray some high karate on my manly chest hairs, and then relax in a gentlemanly fashion on my silk sheets watching 1980s Aerosmith videos featuring the beautiful Reese Witherspoon. Or I might just watch a bit of Netflix or something like that, you know. Yeah, that's as far as I've got. I've put the I've put the airbox back on. That's all on. That's all gone all right. And when I get some spare time in the week, I shall get cracking. But I do have a feeling that pull cable is the wrong one. It was ever so slightly shorter. And it's made the difference. See, it might be for an NC30 because they've got lower handlebars than the 24, so it might just make that little bit of difference. I don't know. I'm going to do some investigation. I'm pretty sure Steve did some and that's what was recommended to him, but I cannot get that throttle to work with that cable. It just locks up. There's no adjustment at the handlebar on that one. All the adjustment is down below, and I've slackened it all the way off and it's a little bit better, but removing it, nice lovely snappy throttle. Might just leave it like that. We'll have a word with, we'll see what Uncle Steve says. But it can be ridden like that. I don't think it'll be a problem at all. So yes, I'm going to wrap this one up properly now, you know, and well, I hope you've enjoyed it. Carry on liking, sharing and subscribing. And at some point the other week we actually went over the 1,000 subscriber mark. Didn't even get a notification from YouTube, so God knows how that works. But yes, but it's funny because I've got over 1,000 subscribers, yet a lot of videos you're lucky to get 100 views on, really. But I suppose you just get your hardcore, and you get those people that are flicking through and just subscribe because they've liked one video. That happens a lot. I mean, I do that. I do that with other content creators. If I like one of their videos, I will subscribe, and I probably won't watch anything of theirs for months. You know. So we shall see. Anyway, folks, I'm going. Try and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm working tomorrow, Sunday. Yes, I'm not going to church. I'm working. I've got to do 200 miles on a motorcycle. Great.